not only chairs the Black Leadership Forum, which is the umbrella group for every major civil rights organization in the country, but he's also the president of the National Urban League, succeeding Whitney Young and Bernard Sharp in that capacity. I think that it is very noteworthy to see all of these national leaders fly into New York to stand with this family today. In fact, we have national leaders standing that we've not heard from some of our state officials that should be outraged that in their state this has occurred.
We need a new governor.
Such as great meets in Congress, or Malcolm Smith, Yvette Clarke in Congress, and others that have expressed this outrage and been there from the beginning, should be joined by other legislators from other communities. Because a threat to any of us is a threat to all of us.
That's right.
A young man came here to the House of Justice Friday after the verdict with his father. His father said that he was concerned because his son just got back 3 weeks ago from serving in Iraq. What stunned me, Mark, is when I looked at his son. His son had the same appearance and demeanor as Trent Benefield, which means that with the judge's ruling, what he said is a policeman wouldn't know the difference between a war veteran and somebody they claim to have a bad record. If you're walking down the street 4 o'clock in the morning, that ruling made all of us vulnerable to any policeman to decide who ought to live and who ought to die.
That's right.
We cannot live under those circumstances.
That's right.
Either we will have a city governed by laws that apply to everybody, or we will not have a city by law. And let me remind the judge and others that the law is to be upheld by everybody and for everybody, including those that may have made mistakes in their past. They still have the civil right to be protected by law. The second thing that I want to address briefly, I was reading in the papers this morning how some in the media are disappointed, it seems, that there's been no riots, which we said there weren't going to be.
That's right.
But they wanted us to play into this hoodlum thug definition. Without going mad.
That's right.
One wrote, Reverend Al says he's going to do this, we'll win. We also know how to be strategic. The media will not set us up and we go for a bait. We're going to do this in an organized, meticulous way, and we have support from all over the country. And one of the things I think that the lack of violence shows is that we may be smarter and we are not the thugs that they tried to project in that rally. Had there been riots, they would have then said, see, that was what the police were afraid of. But now, since there's been no violence, it shows that the police geared up all of this Friday for what? The only violence that has happened in the case of Sean Bell is the 50 shots by those 3
That's right.
What they would not write, Mark, while they're doing these critiques on how angry we are now. They would not write that the thing that has been most disturbing is that while we behave with organizing and getting ready for what will come in the coming weeks, some people had the nerve, the insensitivity, to start making prank calls to Nicole Portrait-Bell's house, laughing, saying,
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
Compare that with how we behave. Nobody's called these policemen.
That's right.
Nobody has mocked these lawyers. We question this judge, but we have a
I
right
didn't say that on the news. Nope.
and a right to protest him. He's a public official. But tell me the mentality of people that would mock a grieving widow who just got that crying a verdict as she sits looking at his 2 children. Tell me how we explain why we must get security for Mr. and Mrs. Bell home because some people is not enough to take their child. Tell me Joe Guzman, who sits here today still with 4 bullets in his back,
Oh, God.
with a hanged foot and a steel rod in the other leg. They say, well, did he have a motive for suing? His motive is he can't work and take care of his children because he was shot for just walking out of a club and getting in a car. And the police decided he had a bad attitude. But I wonder if we went down the east side of Manhattan to some of the strip clubs that the wealthy hang out. Would you pull guns on their attitude? Well, people should be in strip clubs and close them down.
That's right.
We ain't the police commissioner. If a club is open, a citizen feel it's legal.
That's right.
I think lastly, that as we begin organizing, you will see expanded support over the coming days. Today, these national civil rights leaders, tomorrow the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, John Conyers, will be coming to New York. We will meet him at the office of Congressman Greg Meeks. He meet with all of us, the family, and we're going to take him to the scene. One of the things the judge said wrong, which of course the press didn't call him out on, is he said in the verdict that there was an argument, there was gun mentioned, which nobody said that but the cops. No non-police witness said that. They all said they never was mention of a gun, including the young man that argument with who they didn't even know. He certainly had no motive to lie.
That's
he didn't
right.
know them. He got no lawsuit. He said we never mentioned gun. But the second thing is the judge said, and they went around the corner and had the confrontation. No, they went 2.5 blocks, which is a huge difference. And we're going to walk the chair of the House Judiciary Committee to show him how far the scene of the shooting was from the club.
Wow.
Because it shows that that policeman had 50 different things he could have done in 2.5 blocks. If he thought that someone was going to get a gun, he would have called for backup. He would have wired in a telephone or cell phone or walkie-talkie something in. For 2.5 blocks, you followed him to do what? And then take out your gun by yourself. To talk about you thought he was reaching for a gun, but you didn't think in 2.5 blocks he was reaching for one. So the new way the police now is if you think you heard somebody mention gun, you will follow them to the gun. Wait for them to get in the car. And then you're going to take action. If you believe that, I have a bridge stretching from Manhattan to Brooklyn that I can sell you right now. There's something absurd about that. And that is why we appeal to the Justice Department to aggressively step in and protect the rights of the citizens of this city. We have no rights. That's right. If we are unarmed, not engaged in a crime, that we can now be hit with open fire and no level of accountability, no recklessness, no assault, nothing. I think that is what has outraged us and will cause the cause of actions going forward. Before I present the family and then Mark can take it, one of those that has struggled so long to raise this consistently is with us, and we must give him an opportunity to say something. Reverend Herbert Dawson.